Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. This is another in my series of my top 100 comics in my collection in terms of price. Now, these are going to be from number 80 to 71. So, this is the part three. Um, and to get started right off the bat, a lot of these books are ones that feature kind of major characters from the golden, silver, and bronze ages. Um, and a lot of these books, actually, I haven't really seen huge increases in price. Um, so I'm going to show you this one. This is Batman 121. This is the first appearance of Mr. Freeze. And in this, he wasn't called Mr. Freeze. He was called Mr. Zero. So his name got changed later. But this is seen as his first appearance. I believe they even say that. It says, first appearance and origin of Mr. Zero, later becomes Mr. Freeze. So this is from 1959. So kind of very early Silver Age book. Now, this book, I got it for about, it was just around $1,000. I was just a little bit under, like I think it was $960 or something in that range. And this is a 2.0, so very, very low grade comic. But this book is one of those ones that, as it is kind of a major character, is one of the characters from Batman's Rogues Gallery, and he's a character that was played by Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movies. So this book has a lot of value for those reasons. Now the going rate for this book in this grade is $1,450, and it's the bottom of this list, but it is a fairly pricey book. So next one, and a lot of these ones, especially when they're in the golden age, I'm pricing it mainly on how much I paid. And the reason I do that is it's really hard to determine the market rate, because a lot of these books, it's really it's a bit of a seller's market. So you can almost set the price by saying, hey, I want this much for it, within reason. So the next one I'm going to show you is Fighting Yank number 10. This is a rare Alex Schomburg cover. And it's one that has just, I've actually done a whole video just about this one comic, because it has so many features to it in terms of things that are collectible. It has the hypodermic needle. It has like the guy in bondage. It has a very World War II elements to it, which gets certain collectors that love World War II covers. It also has a lot of Nazi paraphernalia shown in it. So covers where there's punching of a Nazi, collectors will chase after. Anything with swastikas, collectors will chase after. So this book is a highly sought after book, and it's fairly rare. So I paid, I think I paid around $1,200 for this book. And according to what I could figure out, the going rate is around $1,500, and I've seen it offered in this grade or even lower grades up to $2,000. It's one of those books that there is a bit of price variance. You really have to. I had to really negotiate to get it for the price that I got it at. I think the guy originally wanted it closer to that $1,500 range, but I negotiated pretty hard and got it for the $1,200. So this is a really highly sought after book, and as I said, it has a whole bunch of torture elements too. That's another thing that collectors will look for. So a really great book, Fighting Yank number 10. So next book is one that I love. This is one actually I didn't think I would be able to get, because I was worried that this one would go through a major price increase. And the reason I say that is it has the first appearance of Crypto. And they're going to be coming out with a Super Pets movie. And Crypto is one of the key characters. He's actually going to be played by The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. So this is Adventure Comics number 210. And I paid, I think it was around $1,250 for this. And the market rate for it now is around 1,500. So wait, am I? Oh, actually, this one's out of order. Yeah, sorry. This one's 1,600. This one I just grabbed the wrong pile. So this is actually later on the list, believe it or not. So sorry, this is a little bit out of order. But the ones, they're all in that $1,500 to $1,600 range. So this is a little bit out of order. I had to grab another book first, but sorry about that. Yeah, but still the same applies. In a low grade, this is a 2.5. This book goes for about $1,600, and I paid about $1,250 for it. But it is a great cover. It has the crypto on the cover, which is always great. It is his first appearance, and it is a book that I actually see a lot of potential for it to climb even higher because of the fact that there is the Super Pets movie coming out. Once the movie actually hits the theaters, probably it'll hit another little spike and then it might cool off after the movie, depending on how good the movie is received or how well the movie is received. So this is Adventure Comics 210, and it's actually higher up on the list, but just slightly. I grabbed it by accident. What I meant to grab was this one. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 14, and this is the first appearance of the Green Goblin. And this sells for around 14 to 1,500, 1,500, around 1,500 in a 2.5. So for me, Spider-Man's major rival is the Green Goblin. Like, of all the villains that have gone up against Spider-Man, I think of the Green Goblin as being the most iconic or well-known. And to me, that's the one, he's the one that I always associate with Spider-Man. So the Green Goblin. And this is his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man number 14. Now, I actually got this book long before, like maybe 2-3 years ago. And when I got it, I paid, I think it was just under $1,000. I think it was around $900 I paid for this. And it has gone up considerably since. So it's now around a $1,500 book. So, and as I said, most of these books they're kind of interchangeable because they're all around that $1,500 mark. So I could easily change them out. So I grabbed the wrong book, but it was actually, they're both the same price, roughly. Okay, so the next one is, this really shows you how much grade matters. So this book is Blonde Phantom number 15. Now, this is not one of the better Blonde Phantom covers. Blonde Phantom has some pretty great covers, like some bondage covers, and just some fairly good girl art covers that she has. But this is not either of those. But it is still an expensive comic, mainly because it's in high grade. It's an 8.5. Now, for a Golden Age book, that is pretty rare. You don't really see that many high grade Golden Age books. When I say high grade, 8.5 is high grade for Golden Age. And this is off-white pages, so it's reasonable page quality. But for the Golden Age, typically a high grade is anything above a 7, even a 6 for a lot of books. It's really hard to get them in that grade, and there's just not many of them. That's the thing. So this one, I just gotta check my pricing. Yeah, again, this is another $1,500 book. I paid a little bit less than this. I actually worked out a deal where I got a bunch of books. So I paid around, I think, $1,400 for this. So it didn't go up much. This is not one of those books that I would recommend as a good investment because of the fact that it doesn't have a lot of the things that people are looking for. So it doesn't have the best good girl art. It doesn't have the best cover in general. It's just not, I don't feel like it is a great cover. But it is one that I needed for my collection because I'm trying to get a run of Blonde Phantom. So it was one that I really wanted to get for my collection, and to get it in a high grade is kind of cool. So it's not the highest in. I think there's actually a 9.0 that's for this character for this one, but as I said, it's high grade that really drives up the price in this case. So this is Blonde Phantom number 15 in an 8.5. And it also, the cool thing is, it also has a Submariner story in it and a Nomura story in it, which is kind of cool. Extra little bonuses there. And speaking of Submariner and Nomura, the next on my list is Submariner 24. Now, this one, I actually want to take it out of plastic so you can really show you. This one is, for me, was just a cover buy. I just love this cover. It's one of my favorite Nomura covers, actually. This one I paid $700 for. And with all the hype around Submariner and also Nomura, and Nomura, you know, she's becoming a very popular character in her own right. This book has really jumped up in value. It goes for around, again, at that $1,500 mark. You'll notice the books in this range are all $1,500 pretty much. So this one is $1,500, and I paid around. It was around. I think it was $700 to $800 I paid for it at the time. It was just a really great cover. I love this kind of cover where you got the woman in the red dress, so typical Golden Age thing, where she's in bondage and in peril. You know, she's got like an atomic bomb headed for her, and you got Submariner kind of just doing his thing, and Nomura's trying to, rescue the girl. And I think it's just really great. I think this is just a really fun, kind of cool comic. I like the word bubbles. A lot of people don't like word bubbles, but I think they're fun. So this is the third appearance of Nomura as well. So that kind of makes it a kind of a minor key for Nomura. Okay, the next book on my list, and we only have 4 more to go, is Beyond number 27. Now this is a 4.0. For this book, that's considered a reasonably high grade. It's a fairly rare book. This one was mentioned in The Seduction of the Innocent. It's a great skull cover, and it's just one that is pretty rare and highly sought after by collectors because people collect Seduction of the Innocent, and they collect pre-code horror, and this is pre-code horror, and they also collect skull covers. So this has a little bit of multi-key effect for Golden Age collectors. And this is Beyond 27. It's mentioned in The Seduction of the Innocent. I forgot the reasoning for it, but this is from 1957, and it's just a really great comic. This sells for about $1,600 in this grade, I believe. Yeah, $1,600. I think I paid for that one. I think it was $1,400. So it was. I got it from my comic shop way back. I would have to look it up again how much I paid, but I think it was around that. You will find with the Golden Age books, the rate of increase is not as much as these modern books that we see, where it's like it was a dollar bin book yesterday, but now it's like a $200 book. You don't see that with the Golden Age. It's more of a slow climb. But there is this book that I'm about to show has shown some real progress, like in terms of price. I was shocked how much this book went up. And I'm not sure. Do I have my original? How much I paid for this book? No, I don't. I wish I did. But I didn't pay much. I paid like $700, I believe, something like that. This is Flash 105, and this is the first Silver Age series for the Flash where he gets his own title. Before Flash made his Silver Age appearance in Showcase. So this is that, where he's kind of reappearing with his own title. And they really just continued the numbering system from the Flash Quarterly comics. I believe it's Flash Quarterly. So this is the next in that series. And it is considered to be a fairly important comic, not just because it's his first title, but it's also a first appearance of a major villain for the Flash, and that's Mirror Master. So it's kind of cool. This book is restored. You'll see that it says that. Even though it's a blue label, these CBCS ones, they don't show the purple label. They show the blue label, even though it's restored. But it says restored. Now, if this book was, like, this book is around $1,600 in this condition for a 3.5 and restored. If it was not restored, you could see the pricing. I've seen prices like Go Collect shows it at around $2,000 for fair market value, but the last 30 days I've seen this book go for around $2,500 to $2,600. So this book has really kind of been seeing its own recently. And I think what's happening is a lot of DC books have really hit their stride recently. And I think it's from channels like Comic Tom and just people like myself saying, hey, DC is underrated, undervalued, and people just realizing, hey, there's a lot of great books that are undervalued in the DC collection. And I think they're finally starting to see a climb. And so a book like this has been one of the beneficiaries of that climb because it has definitely gone up in recent times. So this goes for around $1,600 in a restored grade. As I said, it goes for much more in an unrestored, even though it's a low grade 3.5. Okay, so that's a Flash 105 from 1959. Next book. And this one is interesting one because you're probably like, wow, why is this book on? Like, I'm showing Golden Age, I'm showing, Silver Age, I'm showing all these major books from the past, but this is a recent book. And it's a rare recent book, and it's one that I love. And if you watch my channel, you can almost guess what it is. It is Zombie Tramp. This is Zombie Tramp number 1. First printing. That's a big deal in itself. And it is signed by the creator Dan Mendoza. Now this came out in 2009. I've only seen this book once in ever, like ever. And this is the copy. It is incredibly rare. You'll notice that if a lot of people tried to sell this book, thinking that they have a first print, but it's usually not. You'll have like an SR over here if it's not a first print. And it is just a really rare book. There's less than 10 of these on the census. For a modern book, that is insane. It's a really rare book. Not many people have it. And if I put this up for auction, generally I could probably get around $1,600, if not higher. Number 3 in the same auction that I bought this for, and I was trying to win number 3, sold for over $2,000. So this is number 1. It's a first print, and it is as scarce as number 3, and it is the first appearances of all the major characters in Zombie Tramp. So it's a big key for Zombie Tramp fans. And the thing is, it doesn't take, with a lot of collectibles, it's not just about scarcity. So scarcity is a big factor here, but it's about a fanship. And what'll happen is a book like Zombie Tramp, you're probably wondering, who likes Zombie Tramp? Well, it doesn't matter that there's not a huge fan base. It doesn't have to be a huge fan base, but there are enough fans. For example, when Dan Mendoza, he just recently released a Zombie Tramp number 56, I believe was the number, where he did it as a Kickstarter campaign. Well, within a few hours, he raised over $100,000 because there are diehard fans for Zombie Tramp. So what ends up happening is if you get these diehard fans, it only takes 2 to bid these things up, and where they're both desperate to get the book in their collection. And I'd pay a lot for it, and somebody else might pay a lot for it. So that's why these books are really great if you can find them, because they're ones that there is like a very niche fan base that can really drive the prices up. That's why I recommend like learning about some of these underground titles. because often the general public won't think much of them. Like, who thinks much about Zombie Tramp? And that's a good thing, because what it does is it creates this opportunity. Because what ends up happening is, like a dealer who doesn't know Zombie Tramp, they'd be like, "Oh, here's a dollar bin book," like, and they'd be like not understanding. But then if you introduce it to the right market, these extreme fans, then you can get huge money for the book. So that's really what I'm trying to say with this one. It's a really great book for that reason, that there's this really diehard fan base, and it's a really rare book that you just don't see. As I said, I've seen it once, and I actually met Dan Mendoza a couple times, and I don't even think he had, like, I don't know if he has it. So it's just such a rare book. Um, so this is Zombie Tramp #1 from 2009. Okay. Now the last book on my list is a bit of a shocker to me. I was shocked because of how much this book has climbed in value. I think I paid 700, maybe less actually, for this book, and it has recently just boom gone up in price. Now it's like according to my thing, it's $1,600. So the books that I showed today were all 14 on the very lowest, 1450 actually, to 1600. So they're all pretty tightly, close. They almost all interchangeable. But this one has really gone up. Like, as I said, I paid and I'm only going back a year or so that I bought this book. Actually, I bought this one as an upgrade to a book I already had. I had this same book in a 2.0, and I think I only paid a couple $100 for that one, or a few $100 for this. And then I was like, oh wow, I could get a higher grade, and it was only a couple $100 more. And it was like so little difference that I was like, why not upgrade? And then my brother is also a big fan of this book. So I'm like, oh, I give that as a gift, as a Christmas gift to him. So this is, you're probably wondering, why is this such a great book? Why is it such an expensive book? Well, it is 4-color 178, and it is the first appearance of Scrooge McDuck in comics. So this is just a really rare book, first of all. It's hard to find in high grades. I've seen high grades. High grade of this would be in many thousands. It goes up really quickly. But it is a rare book. And it is a book that Scrooge McDuck fans will chase after. Now, there's a bunch of different people that will chase after this kind of book. There are the Scrooge McDuck fans, which I am one of, but there's also the Carl Barks fans. Now, Carl Barks is the artist that created Scrooge McDuck, and his artwork and his Scrooge McDuck character are highly sought after by collectors. Now, this cover is not done by Carl Barks, so it's one of those weird cases where Carl Barks did the interior art, and this was done by Dan Gromley, I think Dan Gromley cover. And it's one of those books that collectors seek that are Carl Barks fans because of the interior art of Scrooge McDuck on the inside. And got nice back cover too. I like these when you actually get a nice panel on the back as well. So just so you know. But this is a really hot book. Scrooge McDuck is a very popular character, and to get his first appearance is always very cool. So that has been my part 3 of my top 100 comics in my collection. And my goal with these videos, and it's not just to showcase my best books and blah, blah, blah. It's not an ego trip for me. I'm trying to show you books that I've invested in that I think are good potential investments as comics. These are all comics that have that either classic cover or classic character, and that have shown through the test of time to be good investments. Now, with the case of Zombie Tramp, I wanted to show a little bit of that under the radar kind of book that you can get, and that I think has huge potential not only now but in the future as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the whole series, and I hope you watch the other parts. And thanks again for watching. Bye.